I was going to tell you that I have to buy like a new pair of pants because my pair of pants has a hole in them.
Oh, shit. Where's the hole?
In the knee.
Oh, in the knee. I mean, that's fashionable. People wear. My wife's got pants with knees out all the time. I would say keep it. You'll look young and hip.
I will not look young and hip.
Also, I wouldn't listen to me on fashion advice. So you're doing a great job.
I don't listen to you on anything. So I'm one step ahead of the game.
No advice. This is why Dan Goodsell, very, very good at life.
Hey, watch him with Dan and Tony. Hey, watch him with Dan and Tony. It's like watching, yeah.
Welcome to Hey Watching with Dan and Tony. I'm Dan.
I'm Tony.
This is Hey Watching with Dan and Tony. I'm just Tony. This is a show where we watch a movie where we watch a movie.
We do it, yeah.
For this show,
you're doing great.
We like to watch a movie so that we could then talk about the movie on this show. So this show is basically made up of us talking about a movie that we've watched.
Yeah, basically, in a nutshell. That's great.
So Tony, you got to pick this movie 6 or 8 weeks ago?
Yeah, I know. I know our schedule's a little messed up right now, and I apologize.
So why don't you give us a little feel about this movie?
Yeah, here's where we start back from the beginning. Okay, the year was
2009.
2009, and lots of movies came out, and a lot of them were terrible. One of the movies that was terrible was called All About Steve, which garnered all of this hate, and everyone was like, this is the worst movie of all time. And we just did that a few weeks ago, and that sparked my memory. I was like, you know what? I should look through the movies that were released in 2009. And I saw this movie in 2009 in theaters, and I hated it. I hated it. And I was like, this movie has to be worse than All About Steve.
And what is this movie?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. No, you should have sent me the script beforehand, Dan. I'm struggling on this teleprompter. The movie that we watched this week is The Ugly Truth with Gerard Butler and Katherine Heigl.
Katherine Heigl and a number of other people. Cheryl Hines and then
Hines and Jonathan Michael Higgins.
Is that his name? I never know.
I'm pretty sure that's his name, right?
I
think so. He's from Fired Up. So
he's 3 names. Very funny.
They are the best part of this movie. I wish that this movie was about their marriage.
He gets the best line in the whole movie, which I'll say later.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait to hear.
It is
John Michael Higgins, and once again, he is in Fired Up, the greatest film of all time. I have the movie poster back there, but you probably can't see.
He's the guy in Best of Show and The Mighty Wind and all of his movies. And
Fired Up.
And
I don't know if you forgot that one.
Fired Up, what a movie that we did on this show, I believe.
A movie that we did on this show, Fred Claus.
Who do you play in Fred Claus?
He plays the elf that's in love with Elizabeth Banks.
Oh, yeah.
And they had that funny, creepy scene in the bar or whatever.
Elizabeth Banks, gotta say, very attractive.
Yeah, I'm not blaming him at all. Good job, elf. Good luck.
She directed that Cocaine Bear, too, which I guess is not as good as... Did you see it? No, it's not supposed to be great. It's not supposed to be great.
Shoot.
But,
shoot.
And she did our Charlie's Angels, that reboot that she directed that.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for her. I'm hoping
I think that means a lot to her to have you in your corner.
So The Ugly Truth, Rom Com. I'll just draw the broad strokes.
Yeah, broad strokes it for us, Dan.
Gerard Butler, kind of a misogynistic guy, has to come work for a controlling producer to save
who's a woman.
Save her morning show. Is it always a morning show?
Are you asking me? Because I don't know the answer. I thought you were doing the broad strokes. Don't come to me for notes.
It's at a certain point halfway through the movie, you realize it's a morning show, and then you realize...
Yeah, it seems that way, yeah.
There was one part where they went outside and it was nighttime during the show.
Well, maybe you're pre-taping. Who knows? I don't know.
So he is brought in with his misogynistic views to sort of... pump up the show.
Pump it up.
Then they fall in love.
Apparently. That's what they're telling me, yeah.
Hold on. He's Cyrano de Bergerac, because we have to have a second act. And the second act is him Cyrano de Bergeracing her relationship with a random dude.
Yeah.
And then the two of them fall in love because they both like to order tap water.
Which, boy, are we going to talk about that? That's going to be a good 10 minutes of this show, I'll tell you that.
And then they then they're in love. See, this movie, while not funny, not having characters that engaged you, not really doing much of anything, it just felt sort of like a nothing burger. I didn't understand who this movie was made for.
Nope, because it's not made for anybody, Dan.
It's not made for women, because...
No, it's definitely not made for women, because it's basically about hating women for a lot of it.
Yeah, and it's not really made for men, because...
Because it turns out it's just a regular chick flick, even though they try to pretend it's not.
So, people always sort of rag on Love Actually because it does like a lot of weird things.
Sure.
One guy's a stalker and all these sort of things and whatever. But it's like, no matter, all I know is when you watch Love Actually, if you're not sitting there like dissecting it, you feels good, and it feels like a bunch of stories of realish type relationships and also sort of magical things that happen in movie relationships.
100%. And then once you start thinking about it, sure, things fall apart a little bit, but I would argue it's not because they're not realistic. I would argue it falls apart because it is kind of realistic, and you look at it and you go, oh, well, they're not going to work out, because it turns out they're pretty unstable.
Yeah, so you're like, okay, at least there's things that this movie, you're kind of like, oh, I kind of see where this is going. They don't really milk the humor very intelligently. And then when it comes to the answers aren't very good. But I don't know.
You didn't hate it.
It's not that I didn't hate it. It's just it didn't anger me at all. I was just kind of like, meh.
It angers. Let me tell you why it angers me.
That's why I'm excited, because you're very angry about it. I'm going to enjoy that.
Well, this is how I look at the movie. This is a movie that thinks it's edgy. And it thinks it's pushing boundaries, but it's really the most mundane piece of shit ever.
Yes.
And so it's not the actual movie that bothers me as much as it is the thought process behind it. Because these people come out and they're like, "Oh, we've made like the anti Rom Com because it's edgy and it's sexy." And then it's like, what am I watching? This is the dumbest thing ever. This is so boring. There's no jokes. There's no characters that I like. The love story is bullshit. They're not going to make it. They're a terrible match. They are going to hate each other in a week. They're going to have animal sex, and then they're going to stop talking to each other. Okay?
Animal sex. All five fingers coming together.
Just bah, 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 bah. You know what I mean?
Limbs in a lot of directions.
They're just going to get tangled up in a sweaty mess, and then they're going to hate each other because they have nothing in common except for the fucking tap water, which I'm going to save. So that's why I hate this movie. And the reason why now I hate it even more is because I look at a movie like All About Steve that got so much hate when it came out. And while I will say this movie is a linear story and All About Steve is not so much that, at least All About Steve is funny. All About Steve made me laugh. You know what I mean? So fuck you guys. This movie sucks way more because it's so boring. It's mundane. It's nothing. It's a nothing film.
Yeah, I go with you. I'm not. That's the thing. I'm not going to disagree with you. I just think that it pushed your buttons because you want something from a movie like this, and
it promises something. Here's the problem: is that it is promising something that it does not deliver. They come out the gate and they think they have a point of view. Yeah. And they think that they have jokes. They think they're very funny and very clever. No. And they think that they're very sexy. It is none of those things. It is zero of those things. And it's just a boring love story that doesn't make any sense. So I'm only mad because they think they're making a better film than they are. And they will tell me. I bet if I talk to them right now, they'll be like, well, it's underappreciated. Fuck you. No, it's not.
It's like the crazy Halle Berry shark movie where she like makes the decision to like drive them to death. Right. And you're just like, wait, what is happening?
Why are you doing that?
This movie at least sort of, they put, I guess that's why I can't truly hate this movie, is because at least they sort of put in the thread lines that, it's like,
that's true.
There is a complete road.
As opposed to a lot of movies that we've watched, they did read the Sid Field books and they made a script that follows that outline. Everything in between it is bullshit, but at least they hit the marks that they're supposed to. I understand that.
And all the conclusions and ways they frame the people are wrong.
Just
and
make
bad.
no sense whatsoever. Stupid.
But at least they built a road where you're not just going to like get to this gap in the road and fall to your death. Which is what we've come to expect that's what I come to expect from a bad movie.
Which I totally understand that, and I just want to be clear. I get it that as a movie, it's not the worst thing we've ever seen. And maybe it doesn't belong on the show. I don't know. I think it does.
Yeah, no. Oh, this totally belongs on the show. It's totally a good movie to talk about. Because there's a lot to talk about, even though I only took 4 pages of notes.
Not bad.
This movie, hour and 36 minutes. God bless you, Tony.
Listen, you're welcome. I'm the guy that brought Avatar into the mix, I think. So I was like, let's keep it easy, keep it breezy.
We start with some poppy pop music. I'm like, oh my god,
it's good.
Katy Perry.
I'm glad you noticed that. Good for you.
Well, that's a real song. It's hot and it's cold.
You're yes, then you know you're in, then you're out. Yeah.
And that's kind of how this movie is. It's like Katy Perry. Yeah, I hate her, but
Oh, you don't like Katy Perry? I went through I'll call it a phase, but I think I still am a big fan. I can't remember which album it was, but there's one album that she came out. I was like, this is a fucking bop. I love this.
Exactly. This is like a Tony kind of music, kind of useless, worthless, garbage. That's fun at times.
Fun, Dan. It's fun.
So we start with the helicopter. We get to Katherine Heigl. She's leaving her house. She's on the phone. She works in the news. She's the boss. She's the producer. Somehow there's like 8 weathermen that are all overweight with beards. How are there 8 weathermen?
This is great. This is what we need to talk about right off the bat is their hatred of fat people and using them just as a joke, Dan. So yeah, she gets to work and they're doing weatherman auditions.
That's what's auditions? Happening. Is that what it was? Okay.
It is auditions. And then somebody asks her, like, why are they all fat people? And Heigl's response is viewers are more likely to forgive mistakes from a fat person.
There it is.
One, that's not true at all because the viewers hate fat people. Let's be clear. If a fat person messes up, you're actually more mad at them. You're less mad at a pretty person. That's the whole point of Hollywood is that we forgive pretty people for doing shitty things.
More importantly, news is either very pretty people or people that have been around there for a million years.
People that know you either know what you're doing or you're good to look at.
Well, or you're familiar with. Yes. You're like, makes sense. We turn on the Channel 5 news. It's like Mark Krisky is there.
And how many fat people do you see, Dan?
There's no new fat people.
It's goose eggs. There's no fat people in the news. And whether we could talk about whether that's a problem, I don't think it is. I would just say this movie tries to use fat people as a joke, but bases it in out of reality. So the joke doesn't land because everyone knows that it's stupid. And so right off the bat, worst movie ever made. Cheers.
We meet Larry, who's the newsman. He co-anchors with his wife, and this is John Michael
Higgins.
John Michael Higgins and
from Fired Up.
And what's her name from Larry?
Cheryl Hines.
Cheryl Hines, Larry Sanders' wife.
Yes.
She's very funny. He's incredibly funny. They sort of use them at the beginning, and then they say, "Okay, we're going to forget about that.
We're good now, thanks." Yeah, which is such a bummer.
They resolve their plot line very early in the movie, and so there's literally nothing for them to do.
Yeah, no, that's something that you resolve in Act 3. Even if it's a side story, you hit it a couple times and then resolve it later. I don't know. They resolve it in Act 1. I don't know why.
She has to pump up Larry because I don't know why. Cheryl Hines is sort of, I wrote, at crap. Is she giving him crap? Maybe. And everybody's sort of going, and does she blow a whistle to get everybody in control?
Yep, she has a necklace. It looks like a regular necklace, but then at the end there's a whistle on it, and she blows it in the office.
And she never does that again, I don't think, right?
Never does it again because they think it's a joke, but really, again, it's just stupid. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Have you ever blown a whistle indoors, Stan?
Very loud.
It's so loud.
And I don't think that would engender you to the people around you. I think they would be unhappy with
No,
that.
they would hate you. They would probably plot to murder you.
So now we have this whole cooking segment, and then we find out that there's duck as opposed to chicken, and then Cheryl Hines' character's like about to throw up, and
Yep.
and I did you understand what was going on in that segment?
No, do you want to know why? Because they don't explain to you why duck is a problem.
Why is duck a problem? Because it's
I
cute?
don't know. That's what I'm saying. We have no idea, but this is the sequence of events is the guy is like, and this is duck? And then Cheryl Hines gets a weird look, and then we cut to Katherine Heigl, and she goes, did he say duck? As if everyone knows duck is a problem. And then she's like, oh, we're in chaos. First of all, chaos does not ensue. Nothing happens. Cheryl Hines, visibly upset, keeps her cool the whole time.
Doesn't barf. Like I
They're
was like,
all
oh, she's got to barf.
professionals. They get through the segment. Everything is totally fine. And Katherine Heigl is supposed to come out of this looking like a hero, like a great producer or something. I think she does nothing.
She called one shot. She's like, shoot, what's his name's face?
So, okay. And now I want to talk about this a little bit because this is another reason I hate this movie so much is all of the control room shots they do, nothing is happening. Nobody is running the show. There's a guy at the switcher, never changes a camera. I'm looking at preview program and then their multi-view, never changes a camera. Not one time. No one's calling it, so I understand why he doesn't do it, because no one's like, and take camera 1, take camera 2. No one's saying shit. The show isn't running, Dan. This is not a real show.
I mean, we could have understood more that she's a control freak by making her actually be a control freak in the
show.
In the control room. She's literally a control freak in a control room, and they do not control.
It does absolutely nothing. Oh boy!
She did call one shot. She did say
one shot. Great in a 6-minute segment, a cooking show. You're gonna be cutting a lot more than that, guys. Anyhow, I was just so annoyed, and they do it a couple times throughout it's just bad etiquette. Go watch Newsroom now. That does it well.
Oh, is that the TV
Aaron
show?
Sorkin?
Oh,
yeah,
man.
the TV show with I can't remember the I think she's English. The lady Emily Mortimer.
Alison Pill.
She's in the show, but Alice. Oh, now I got it messed up. Emily Mortimer, is that her name? I don't know.
Her last name is Mortimer.
Mortimer. She runs the control room, and they show her actually directing a show, and it's pretty fun. Pretty fun to see. Anywho.
The boss pulls her in. They're getting bad ratings, so they're like,
big surprise. They only cut the camera one time. I wouldn't watch that shit. That's so boring.
He's like, give me some numbers. Then we cut to her in the bathroom she's got like her assistant who has a name that we hear maybe a couple times. And
oh, do we? I don't remember it at all.
We hear her name a couple of times.
Okay.
And what's our hero lady? What's she doing in there?
I don't remember what she's doing.
Yeah, she's flossing.
Oh yeah, okay.
Don't have your characters floss.
She's flossing.
You don't have your characters floss. It's gross. It's weird.
You know, I don't want to call my mom out right now, but I'm going to do it real quickly just because you brought it up.
Call out your mom.
We were home for Christmas, and my mom just comes out of her bedroom flossing and comes and sits at the dinner table and starts flossing her teeth. I was like, Mom, what the hell are you doing?
Ma, what the hell are you doing? We
got the company. Get in the bathroom where it belongs.
Take your filthy flossing and get out of the room.
Because shit's going to come out of it. I don't know. But you're right. No, don't ever floss.
It's just weird, you know?
Yeah.
I mean...
And it doesn't, to me, it doesn't scream control freak.
No.
To me, it's just like, you floss throughout the day if you need to. Like, if you get something in there, go pound it out.
It's fine. It's pound it out.
That's probably not the floss terms.
Not a floss term. Pound it out.
Go pound it out in the bathroom.
She's got a big date tonight.
Yeah. So another problem I have. Oh boy, you're right. I hate this movie, Dan. This movie's bad. The dynamic between Katherine Heigl and, in my opinion, her much more attractive assistant is that the assistant is like, I have to live vicariously through you because no one will date me.
No,
not a chance.
Not a chance. People be all over that assistant.
100%. And she seems pretty fun. She seems like a good time, as opposed to Katherine Heigl, who you go on one date with, like Mr. Murphy's about to, and you hate her. She sucks.
I don't have a lot of friends, but I got to imagine A
All right, you
Catherine,
know what? Let's bring it down. Let's bring down the energy here. Dan, talk to us. What's going on?
a Katherine Heigl is very attractive, right?
Sure, I guess.
So she probably wouldn't get approached by a lot of dudes, right?
Yeah.
But the assistant, who's like very cute, I would assume attracts dudes like,
And again, if you're in a bar and you see these two people talking, you're not going to go up to Katherine Heigl because she's not going to be having fun. You're not going to look across and be like, I should go talk to her. You're going to talk to the one that's probably bubbly and laughing and having a good time. You're like, I think I might have a shot with her.
Yeah.
Let me go feel this out. You would never go up to Katherine Heigl.
Not a chance. Because you know that she's off dating a banker or a doctor
right?
or
yeah,
whatever.
Someone super boring and like, well, I have money. Come on, guys.
Big asshole, basically. Flossing. We get to the restaurant, so we go to the date. Restaurant. Boom. Here comes Eric from Entourage.
Yeah.
Your boy.
Eric Murphy. And I just realized I called him Murphy because his name's Eric Murphy in Entourage, and that's not his real name. His real name's Kevin Connolly. I'm so sorry, Kevin, if you're listening.
Kevin. The great director, Kevin Connolly.
Gotti! Oh, I love him. He's a good guy. Anyhow.
Never met him. Don't know what kind of guy he is.
Never met. He would never talk to me probably, but it's fine. I'm going to pretend he's a good guy.
I have the feeling his ego much taller than he actually is.
Well, I assume he's got the little man syndrome where you try to be bigger than you are. I get it.
When in doubt, we should just go to all these stereotypes when talking about people we don't know.
Yeah, isn't that what you do?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I do, 100%.
This is America.
This is America. Come on now.
Okay, talk about the date.
Sorry. It's awful. It's weird. She is not interesting, and she's not likable, which are two things that you probably don't want your lead character to be, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. You tell me.
I mean, she should date someone that's boring and.
He should suck more than her, right? On the date.
No, I think we're supposed to.
You don't think so?
I think we're setting up that she sucks, right? Isn't that what we're setting up?
I mean, that's true. I guess that's true.
I mean, I don't think that's a good way to go. I don't think you should make your main character just generally suck.
Because she's just really so here, let's just talk about a couple things that happen on the date.
Yeah.
This is the first introduction to the tap water bullshit. Do we want to talk about that now or when they agree on it? Okay, let's talk about it. So basically, her whole thing is, there's a study, and tap water is basically the same thing as bottled water, which is completely incorrect, everybody. It's not like they just go to a faucet and fill that shit up. It's still filtered. It might originate from a similar source sometimes, but it still goes through a fucking process to change the water and make it so delicious.
Well, and also like with fizzy water, they usually put stuff into fizzy water, right?
100%.
I can't drink fizzy water. I can't drink fizzy water either. I find it disgusting.
Yeah, it's the worst. It's
so there are a number of bottled waters I do not like Evian. You put an Evian in front of me, I will send it back.
Let's talk about the ones you do like. Let's get some sponsors on this show. Fiji? You like Fiji?
Fiji, I think okay. I like Arrowhead. I like Arrowhead.
Arrowhead's my favorite. That's what when I get a bottle of water, that's the only thing I'll get.
Yeah.
Unless I'm getting a Fiji in a nice square bottle. I do like a Fiji. Yeah. Fiji's very smooth. I know that sounds weird to people that don't drink a lot of water, but Fiji has like a smoother, it feels more dense, and it's not because it's still water, but it's very smooth. And then Arrowhead just has the best taste of any bottle of water I've ever tasted.
I drink lots of water, and I prefer. And we have we have the tap, and we put it through the Brita filter, and it comes out really good.
We used to do that, and now we get jugs. We have a water dispenser in our house because that's how much I hate tap water. Even when it's filtered, I'm like, nah, I can still taste it. So I like a nice big jug. We get 5 gallons delivered every month.
So bad thesis that there's no difference between tap water and bottled water.
Horrible. And here's my biggest problem with it is that I almost said Eric Murphy again. Damn it. Kevin Connolly responds by saying, I just like the way it tastes better, which is 100% accurate. And that is why I hate Katherine Heigl's character. She's drinking water just because it's water. She's not deciding on taste. She's just like, water's water. Oh, I'm the dumbest person on earth. That's how I feel about her. Hate it.
My wife sometimes gets mad at me because I'm so particular about things. I can only wear certain types of T-shirts. There's a lot of things that it's like I have to have.
Fabric-wise?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
Can't handle it.
It's on your skin. Yeah.
I have like certain shirts that I love what's on them. I cannot wear them. Literally, I would go crazy. So she's terrible. She's overprepared. She hands him talking points.
Yep.
That was weird.
It's super weird because why wouldn't you just bring those up yourself?
Yeah.
If you have talking points, why does he have to be the one to initiate them? That doesn't make any sense, Dan. Just bring them up yourself and start the conversation and see if it flows.
What I always do when I'm in an uncomfortable situation, which is with most people that I don't know, I do interviewing the audience. I interview them, right?
Yes.
You'd think that she'd have I understand that they're just doing this to set her up as a weird controlling person. These don't feel organic, like organic things that someone would really come to.
100%. 100%. It feels like forced bits that they think are going to work, but they don't because they're inhuman. I mean, why would you write somebody questions to ask you? It doesn't make sense.
And then she sets up this whole thing where she has these 10 points that a guy has to do these 10 points.
She has a checklist.
Checklist.
Yeah. What's on her checklist, Dan?
And that's my point. I don't think
we
ever
don't
even have. We
they
don't
talk
ever even
about
know
it
one.
multiple times in the movie. They never say one item on the checklist.
And that's
all we know is that Kevin Connolly has 9 out of 10 on her checklist.
And more importantly, she maybe thinks he has. It's like you.
How would you know?
If you really had a checklist, you would have to interact with a person to see if you really.
Yes.
You'd have to see these things occur for you to believe them, because a lot of people
100%.
will say, I'm 6'1" and I'm muscular, until you see them and take their shirt off. You don't know if that stuff's true, even if there's a picture.
You got to take their shirt off. Let's just be clear. You got to see the abs.
So
So we never know any of that. I would love to know which one he's missing.
Yeah.
Make a joke out of it. Do something, but just saying you have 9 out of 10 items on my checklist. Not a joke, because it means nothing to me.
Well, and then we set up that you're short, so it's you have recessive. You have green eyes, which is a recessive gene, which were whatever, and that there.
Is that true? I have hazel green eyes. What does that mean? Recessive? Is that bad?
Typically, a recessive gene will go away. So if you were to have kids, your kids might have brown eyes, and they. I don't know if green.
Interesting.
Eyes. It's like mid-digit hair. It's one of those.
Yeah, I got that too.
Yeah, mid-digit.
Yeah, look at that. You can't see. I got it. I got it everywhere. I got it on my fingers and my toes. Is that good?
Okay, so she gets home after the date, which.
Wait, I gotta say one more thing.
Sure.
She also prints out his profile. She printed out his profile to bring it as like reference or something, but then doesn't really use it. She just says, I printed it out.
And also did a background check.
Did a background check on him. Is she a policeman? I don't understand what's happening.
It's very weird and didn't lead to any funny. A lot of times they sort of set some stuff up and you're like, okay, now we're going to get to the funny part. And then they're like, let's move on.
Yeah, I don't know. It's terrible. It's horrible. I hate it.
And that's what joking, that's what it's about, is setting it up and then paying it off. This movie, when it gets to most of these kind of things, it tries to get away as quickly because they don't know how to pay these things off.
Yeah, 100%. And I just want to say that I thought he was very charming in the scene.
He was fine.
See? And that's hard to do in this movie.
He's playing that same character that he played in Entourage, which...
Okay, well, let's not take away any credit from him, okay? He's got range.
I don't know about that. I mean, I think I've watched every season of Entourage. I enjoyed that show. It was a fantasy show for people like Tony to dream that they were in there.
It's a wish fulfillment show. Let's be very clear, but that doesn't make it not a good show, people.
It was very good at doing that.
Yes.
Just like soap operas do their thing very 100%. Competently. You could say that soap operas are not for me, but you can't say soap operas are garbage because...
Amen. Because people love them.
People love them.
People
Rightly
love
so. Rightly so.
You're okay. Yeah. Art is you can like different things, people. Just because you don't like Entourage doesn't make it a bad show. I fought a lot of people on this throughout the years. So
because people say it's a bad show because of what it represents and sort of what sort of culture it. But it's a very accurate representation of how those people live their lives.
Yes, it is.
It's not a
right
bunch-
or wrong, probably wrong. It doesn't make it inaccurate.
And I think this movie's kind of the same. They sort of pitch her as this sort of certain type of person. And you're like, this is a person that exists in an evening gown world that nobody I know lives in.
And I will not go. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, it's like...
Not that I'd be invited, but even if I was, I would not go.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to date someone like me or you, Tony, would not want to date someone like Katherine Heigl's character because she does have no interests.
Correct. Yeah.
You know. She goes home. She has a cat. The most interesting thing about her.
And then we don't really deal with the cat very much, and I love cats, so...
That she accidentally has on a TV show called The Ugly Truth, where we meet Gerard Butler's character, Mike. Whew, let's get a juicy name. Mike. Oh, her name is Abby, I believe.
Yep.
Basically, his thesis is men are cavemen. They're simple. You can't train them. All they care is about women losing weight, wearing trashy lingerie, and being that. So that's his basic one. Later on, he goes into the saint sinner, the double standard that women have to do, which is be both Mother Teresa and a whore at the same time. Yeah, which is another weird thing.
I mean, it's all weird. Everything that comes from this part of it is weird. But I need you to explain to me how cable access works.
Oh, is he on cable access?
I suppose, like, that's what they said. Is he's a cable access show, and I don't really know what that means. Let's start there.
Yeah, I'll explain cable access. Before we had YouTube and all this other stuff, we would have cable access, and what that was is it's be like a small station that is there for the community, and literally they would have time on air in these very small stations where you would go in there and be able to put on a show. And oftentimes they would have a studio with cameras that you would go into and you'd roll in there with your stuff and you'd set up your show. Sometimes it would be live, I think. Sometimes it would be taped. And then you would produce a show, and then maybe you're on Thursdays at 2 o'clock in the morning, 2 a.m. Typically, terrible time slots. During the day, these kind of stations would used to have like education programs, things like that, and more sort of PBS-y kind of, not PBS, but more more community stuff that's helpful to people, like Bob Ross and that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay.
Those kind of painting shows would end up on community access. Great program, super interesting sort of world. I thought about trying to write a show about it at one point.
You still should.
Definitely a lost, sort of lost concept. That's hard to imagine, where everyone has free access to production.
Right. Yeah, and that makes sense, because when I'm watching that, I was like, this belongs on YouTube. What he's doing belongs on YouTube, not television.
Yeah, and that was the thing back. I mean, this is from 2009. I can't imagine there was a lot of public access left in 2009, but they were trying to make it so that she could just churn the channel on her television.
Find it.
The cat stepped on the remote control, and boom, up he comes.
Yeah, it's pretty dumb.
Yeah.
I don't know when YouTube got big, but it launched in 2005.
Yeah.
So it had been out for a few years.
It got big pretty quickly, but
I don't know.
This is once again, this is a kind of movie where they work backwards, how do we get it onto her TV screen?
Sure.
And this is how we get it onto her TV screen.
Now, would I be paying the cable access company to be on the air?
Mm-mm. No,
because he says some things that I don't think
he would not pay. No, he would be. It would be free. Cable access, zero pay, absolutely free. You might have to pay money to, hire your own producer, to do stuff like that.
Sure, like get a crew maybe to come in and work it.
But those places, they came with crews, because I mean, there's this woman here in LA called Francine Dancer that we would watch on cable access, and she's basically homeless. Like literally homeless.
All right.
Or just about homeless. And this is a person with absolutely no money and was on television.
Okay. He just, I don't know. He says a lot of things that I don't think would get by the, what are they, the FCC?
It wouldn't be censored.
Interesting.
There were actually sort of semi-pornographic people on in New York
Now
City.
you're talking my language. Let's bring cable access back, baby.
There were definitely some very racy, maybe not hardcore pornography, but naked ladies on the New York cable access. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, naked ladies. We really messed up taking this away. This new generation's ruining so many things.
Don't think that was here in LA, but there might have been some weird, stuff.
Let's try to bring it back. Okay. All right. Thank you. That actually does clear it up a little bit. I appreciate you, Dan.
One woman calls and they have problems, so she calls in and then she makes up this perfect man, and then he calls her a lesbian, and then he's like, "This guy does not exist," and then he's like, "You're a dog."
Yeah. Yep.
I'm kind of glad we've lost that nomenclature of "you're a dog,"
which is so, and this is because we use it in a positive way sometimes now, not to women. We say it to like guys, and you're like, "Oh, you dog,"
we do. You're right, we do.
Yeah. So I don't know. Language is weird. I don't really like either of those, to be honest with you. But
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of changed. But yeah, it's watching it now. I don't remember how I felt when I saw it in 2000. I feel like I probably felt the same way. But watching it now, I was like, no one would ever hire this guy to do anything real. He's a horrible human being. On the show, obviously, when they cut to his private life, he's fine. He's doing a character, and I totally understand all that. But that character is so unlikable, I don't believe a real show would hire him.
And there you have an interesting thing that they could have done, which they do not do, is him realizing that his TV persona is a bit of a character.
Yes, yeah, that would be great. But instead, they start bringing that into his real life more, and then he starts like telling her how to be, for lack of a better term, kind of a whore.
Yeah.
I think that's what he says, doesn't he? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought at one point he said that.
Yes, he does. Okay. So she's hurt. She gets off the phone with him, and I don't know if she cries, but she's pretty hurt. Which
is weird.
No,
I don't understand. How do you...
Because she's a human being.
No, okay, that's great. But is this character really going to call into that show?
Yeah. I mean, I get that because she's like, I'm going to show him because she's a.
But then she doesn't do anything. Then she sounds like a crazy person on there, Dan, because she's just making up a guy that we all know doesn't exist.
Yeah.
He knows doesn't exist. It's all weird. I don't know.
It's pretty dopey. So, boom, next morning, here's Mike. He's their new guest commentator, and she'd worked up a bunch of terrible ideas, and he starts doing his bits. I like a woman on top. And then she tells him that she called his show last night.
Yeah, why would you ever do that?
I don't know. It's just giving him a bunch of ammunition.
Right, yeah, it's literally giving him the power in your relationship, which doesn't make sense if she's a control freak.
Yeah. So
also, have we had the meeting? This is the meeting, right? Excuse me. When they're in the boardroom, he says terrible things in this room, and nobody really calls him out except for when he leaves. Cheryl Hines basically says something to her husband.
Yeah.
John Michael Higgins, right? And she's like, that's harassment. Weren't you paying attention to HR? And he looks at her and he goes, well, he wasn't harassing me, which to me, it's very funny. But also I was like, oh, that's like the one real comment in this entire movie. It's like, yeah, in the world, sometimes we let things go by that we see because they don't directly affect us. And I was like, that's interesting.
There is a lot of questionable workplace behavior in this movie.
Questionable? I don't think it's questionable, Dan. It's downright. These people should all be fired.
Yes. She tells her she called. He's happy about the job, and he thanks her, and she's going to be his producer now.
Yeah, and he says, and I quote, I wrote this down. She's like, oh, the only reason I turned on your show is because my cat stepped on the remote or something like that. And do you remember what his response was?
Something about a pussy.
Oh, you want to thank your pussy for me now too? Come on!
You didn't do a big laugh when you heard that joke, Tony?
Nope, didn't do a single laugh. I was like, first of all, this is still in a workplace, and you can't even say that word in a workplace. It's just he's so crass and so unlikable. And I want to be clear, I do enjoy a Gerard Butler. You know, we've said it on the podcast. We like him. I don't like him in this movie. I don't think he's charming at all. I think he's just off-putting.
He's incredibly off-putting, and he doesn't ever. They don't ever let him. I mean, for a little part when he's interacting with his nephew,
the boy.
You're like, oh wow, why don't we see this guy a little more often? So that
other than like twice in the whole movie, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. Yeah, if I don't like Gerard Butler, you're doing something wrong.
And the truth of the matter is, if he really is that guy that he is with his nephew, he would have been that way in a professional work thing where he wants it to work.
And that is exactly right. He would be that way until he's on the show and he's like, time to turn it on, time to do my bit, because I know I'm just doing this to get a reaction. Yeah. That's the kind of guy this is. He's like, yeah, I'm a real guy. I understand things, but I can look at them and start poking things that people see as true, even though it might not be.
He should put people on blast while he's doing the character.
100%.
And then 100%. She should just be like, oh, you're going too far with this. And she's like, we got to get those ratings. And then that would be a better Frisian in the movie.
And they almost do it with the Jell-O scene when he's in the Jell-O pit and then she's like, stick her finger in your mouth, and he questions it. Oh, sorry. Okay.
Let's get.
Well, we're talking about things. He's not a fully formed character. That's all I want to say.
He's not. Okay. Right. Now we're cut. We're about to go into the show, which I keep saying is a newscast, but it's not. It's like a morning segment show.
And it's apparent, but they treat it like the news. They have a weatherman.
Yeah, well, morning shows have a weatherman, and they have for sure.
I don't watch any of this sort of TV. By the way,
the Channel 5 morning news, which I used to watch a lot of, and we just turned it on the other day because there was something going on with helicopters, so we were like, oh, we'll turn on and see what's going on.
You gotta check that out. Yep.
And they've got Mark Krisky, the weatherman, and they've got Sam Rubin, the entertainment guy, and I don't know if they do cooking segments, but they could. They do fashion.
They might fit in.
They do fashion ones, and so it's that kind of a news show. You're like, okay,
all right.
So boom, they're getting ready. John Michael Higgins, is that his name?
Yeah, you're doing great, Dan.
It delivers the line that I like, just very dryly. Matter of fact, he's like, there was a bird in my dressing room.
Oh my God, he's just flying around. You're right. No, that was, I laughed very hard. There's a couple lines with him that I laughed really hard at.
And it just shows you what a pro comedian could do with there's a bird in my dressing room.
I don't believe that that's scripted. I think there's just like, we need a little pre-news fluff, just ad-lib for us. I'm pretty sure, but who knows?
It's just such a good line. This made me laugh.
Yeah.
Like, this is good. So we can do the newscast, and then they pull in Mike, and then he calls out their marriage, Cheryl Hines and John Michael Higgins, and then he sets up that he's emasculated, and then we set up the thing that makes the least sense in the world, that Cheryl Hines' character makes more money than him, like twice the amount of money than him.
Yeah. Because this
makes no sense at all in the world.
To me, it's the exact same thing as the fat weatherman thing. They're trying to make some sort of joke, but they're basing it on the opposite of reality. It just doesn't make any sense. And I'm not saying that she shouldn't make more money than him. I'm just saying that in this world, she wouldn't.
Well, they don't play it as if she makes more money than him.
Right, yeah, that's what in the world that they've... Yeah.
If she made more money than him, she would talk first. She would look better than him.
She would be the lead anchor.
He would be support. He would be a supporting character. He would be the entertainment guy. She would be the lead guy. This 100%. Makes sense. And here I am with my trusted entertainment guy. But that's not it. Whoever talks first makes more money.
It's literally the Anchorman bit where they're each trying to end the segment and they continue to go back and forth because whoever talks first and last is the lead anchor. Yes. That's just the way it is.
And that's the whole thing with Status is you will have had to set her up
Yep.
with the higher status, which you have never done. He's always,
Nope.
he gets the bird joke. She's
Which
always
is so
behind him. He's always, she asks him about the sexual harassment, and then he has the final word on it.
Yep.
She is subordinate.
100%. Yeah. And that you can't just say a line and then pretend that it's the opposite. It doesn't work that way, guys. You are writing the movie. You could have written it. It's so she's in power, but you didn't.
All she has to do is go get me coffee. Where's my coffee?
Great.
He runs away to get her coffee. Boom.
There you go.
We have set up a power dynamic.
Love
easily.
that.
He's emasculated by her. She is a powerful, and you got goddamn Cheryl Hines out there. Do you think Cheryl Hines
brilliant
cannot play that character? Do you think he cannot play the emasculated man? Of course he can. They both can.
I think
it's so dumb.
Yeah, it's awful.
So he just convinces them to have a relationship again, and then they make out.
I will say my favorite Gerard Butler line is in this scene, and he's talking to John Michael Higgins, and he just calls him Frowny McFlaccid. It was it's a passing comment. I
wrote that down. I knew you liked that.
It's a funny nickname. I think I'm going to steal it.
So she loses her mind. She goes and crawls into the closet, and everybody loves Mike.
Yeah, I don't, just for the record.
Cut to Mike at home. He gets all these messages from sexy girls and is unhappy about it. And we're like, sure he is.
I don't even understand that in his character. Like, why would he? It seems like that's what he would want, is just women to have flings with, right?
I think so.
I don't know.
Boom! In comes the nephew. Don't listen to my, don't listen to what I say on my show. That's for when the girls are like 21 or something. And he lives in a house behind the sister's house.
Seems that way.
Like
yeah, like he's like
house.
Yeah. I don't know.
Sister
seems like he's in a guest house, but
sister seems super cool, but we don't ever really get to meet her.
In fact, they make a point of making her disappear in several scenes. We're like, oh, now she's working, but the kid's here.
Boom, back to Abby. Her cat breaks the fishbowl and then climbs out on a tree, and she follows him, and then there's a sexy new neighbor which she's peeping on.
And not just casually.
He flosses. So he's flossing, so that means she thinks she has a point of connection with him. That's why we did the flossing earlier. Okay, I forgot that.
But he's flossing alone in his apartment where it fucking belongs.
Yes.
So, like, you're supposed to floss. That's a normal thing you should be doing.
She then falls out of the tree. He goes out.
Don't jump to that part yet. We need to talk about her in this creepy tree. Because she is not just accidentally, casually peeping on him. It may have started that way, but she's in this tree verbalizing, oh my. Oh my. Oh. Like, she's being loud. Everyone in this complex is hearing her right now.
She's not being quiet.
No.
So the tree branch breaks. She gets flipped over and sort of hung upside down in the tree somehow, which very hard to do. And then,
I mean, it would be hard not to just get down from there, because you could just let go.
Well,
she's not that high.
Her foot's caught somehow.
Is it caught?
Yeah, her foot is somehow caught. I don't. The mathematical equation.
Broken. Her ankle is broken.
She's effed up. If she went from this to this and then is hanging.
But it's just a little sprain. I thought she just like twisted it. I don't know. This movie's dumb.
They don't want to show us how she's stuck in the tree because they don't want to actually figure out how the logistics of that. And so he comes out. We don't see his face. We just see his towel. And then his towel falls off, and she's like looking at his.
Well, she pulls it off because she's like frantically reaching for help or something, and she grabs the towel and pulls it. It's horrible physical comedy.
And then pulls off his towel.
And sexual harassment. So
scene cut.
Yep. Not a fun like interplay of anything. It's just like, oh, there's his dick and cut.
Well, and he's kind of like, here you go. You know,
I'm assuming he's pretty well endowed. I'm just making that assumption. So he's probably pretty proud of it. And if she pulled it off, he's just going to be like, yeah, look, drink it in. You know, I don't know.
So boom, we're inside his apartment, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
He is fixing her foot. Oh, and her cat comes over there and likes him, and then she leaves and forgets her cat, and then comes back and gets her cat, and does her little happy dance.
Which stupid dance, yeah.
I knew you hated that dance.
Everybody hates that dance because it's not gonna. She did it in his front door.
Yeah.
Of course he's gonna still be. It's so stupid. No one would ever do that. I don't know. I just.
Okay.
Also, you don't ever see her that excited throughout the rest of the movie.
Oh no, she does that dance a few other times.
Does she?
Yeah,
I must have tuned it out.
She does that dance in front of Gerard Butler a couple of times.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I'm sure it's endearing to him.
Boom, we're back in the studio. He's flirting with the makeup girl, and she comes over, and then he stops, and you're kind of like, if this guy's sick of the bimbos and sick of being like that, why, it's like if you have an endless parade of bimbo-ish girls, you wouldn't continue to, if you're trying to stop that behavior, you wouldn't just keep the
exactly.
thing.
If you're trying to stop, which is what it seemed like in the answering machine scene.
Oh.
Whoa, answering machine scene. Whew,
answering machine. Answering machine.
Machine. Yeah, I don't understand.
Yeah. So, boom, we get to the show, and Mike's segment starts. He walks over, and he's like, romantic dinner, and they've got people eating romantic dinner. And he's like, no way. And then he walks outside, and somehow he has produced / set up a scene with two girls in a gigantic pool of Jello wrestling.
And not only that, but somehow we went from studio cameras that are on tripods, on a moving cam bot, something.
Stay with him.
And it's like, what do you mean stay with him? They can't just take the camera off. Oh boy. I was livid. All of a sudden he's got a field camera on his shoulder for no reason.
Then the girls pull him into the Jello, and then she's all like, okay, I see the opportunity. And her big producing thing is suck their fingers because their fingers have Jello on them. And he's like, what? That'd be insane. And then he's like, okay, I'll try it. And he sucks one of the girl's fingers, and
nothing happens.
Well, no, he makes the joke. That's not strawberry jelly. That's cherry jelly. I got it wrong.
That's not a joke. That's not a joke, Dan. Don't tell me it's a joke.
That's what Jerry Seinfeld does. He makes an observation. I told you it was strawberry, but actually it's cherry. Everyone laugh.
Yeah, I did not laugh. 1, 2. I don't even understand. This is nothing. This is again her directing the show and it amounting to nothing. So he put her finger in it. Who cares? That's not racy.
It's titillating.
Is it? I don't know if it is. And why is he reluctant to do it? Because at first he's reluctant. Why?
I don't know.
You're rolling around in Jello. This doesn't make any frickin' sense.
Years and years ago, when I had my bachelor party.
Are you going to roll around in Jello? Hold on. Let me get comfortable. Let's do this, Dan.
We did my first wife. I'm on my second wife,
The
first wife.
I'm sorry, I don't even know her.
We go to do my bachelor party. We end up at here in Hollywood at the one club where they do the hot oil wrestling.
That sounds dangerous. Okay.
I think it was hot oil wrestling. It wasn't blood wrestling. Yeah. It wasn't Jello. It was hot oil, I believe.
Yeah, okay.
Who goes in there? Dan Goodsell. Wrestling
Classic
with the
Dan.
girl. It's the greatest thing ever because the girl, she's like, okay, now you're gonna do. She manages.
She's helping you.
Yeah, okay. she manages the whole fight. It's super great. It was just like it was so great. You're like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah,
I had drank a little bit, not a lot. I don't know how to drink big drinker, but I'm in there. I don't know what I was wearing. Maybe I was wearing my underwear. I have no idea.
I would say not a lot. If it's hot oil, you're not wearing much. I'll tell you that.
And then I got it off and put my clothes. I don't know how that all happened, but so I'm in there and she just
Dan is hammered.
She just manages my whole. She's like, okay, now do this, and then you'll win. And I'm like, this is great.
Because it's a show.
It's a show. She helped you, and it wasn't like this. Certainly whatever misogyny or whatever's involved in all that. But the point is she was in complete control and helping put on the show because that's what everyone was there to do, was to see a show.
Yeah.
That was entertaining.
That's a pro right there. Good job.
Yeah.
Not you. You're not the professional.
No, Filthy
You're just
monster.
walking. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh boy. Dan, that was a good story. I enjoyed that a lot.
There you go. She then has a dream that she's a naked weather girl. Like, I mean, you immediately know it's a dream and it's immediately weird.
But
and
it
you're
doesn't
like,
make any sense.
especially in this
Also-
whole movie. Like, why are we doing that now?
I have no idea because it doesn't have anything to do with anything that came before or after, as far as I can tell. I don't know. Listen, I don't understand it, but here's why it bothered me.
Yeah.
I am 99.9% sure not her body.
Oh, really? You thought it was a body double?
If you go back and watch it, it doesn't quite line up. Her head is just too big for the body that it's on, and I'm pretty sure it's fake.
We watched another movie with her, New Year's Eve, and
Oh,
I
yeah,
remember
that's right.
her breasts being very, very, very large.
Yeah.
They weren't very, very, very large, and I don't know if I don't know if she had some sort of surgery or something, but
That's fair. Yeah,
I don't know. It's weird.
It was. The whole scene is weird, and also doesn't fit in the movie. So
Yeah.
I don't even know why we're doing it.
Boom, they have high ratings. She feels dirty. He's like, "Why do you hate me?"
Obviously.
Or no, somebody, not, it's because I'm the truth. I don't know. So she tells him about the neighbor.
Yeah.
And so
Well, she's on a call, right? Or is that not yet?
He tells her about the neighbor, and so he's all like, "Okay, I'm gonna fix this up," and then he makes her. She's like, "Okay, I'm gonna call." So she calls, and then through a series of him hanging up and stringing the dude along, she is able to make it so that she now has power over the dude. So basically, he's
Yes.
gonna do the Cyrano de Bergerac and gonna, even though in Cyrano de Bergerac he's already in love with her.
Right.
And that's the whole premise of those things is Cyrano has to already be in love with the woman so that when he goes through the process, he's getting closer to her.
Yeah.
In this one, he doesn't really care about her. He's just trying to prove himself right. And
there was a bet. They did a bet.
Oh, did they
of
do a
some
bet
sort.
of some sort?
Yeah, it was something like, if I win, you have to be nice to me, and if you win, I quit the show, or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't
something
know.
stupid like that.
Something very stupid and doesn't actually matter.
So basically, he's going to begin his manipulation of the other dude through her
Yeah.
so that she can then have a boyfriend. And basically, the whole manipulation is string him along as long as you can. Don't give him any sex until as long as you can, and then kind of, play it's hot and cold game.
Hot and cold. Yeah.
Which they tell us about in this Katy Perry song at the very beginning. Hot, then you're cold.
Yeah, it's very on the nose. But also, let's be honest. I mean, we do like it. We do like that.
It's a game people play. If you're a rational human being, it doesn't work, because if you're cold on me, I'm like, okay, you're cold.
That's
we're
why
done.
when people decide they want relationships, they're like, I'm not going to play games anymore, which is all very confusing, because then why are you playing games in the first place?
Yeah, why are you playing games? What good
Just
is that?
don't play the games then. Just don't be stupid. Yeah. But
stupid.
As humans, that seems to be what we do. I don't know why.
And so it works. So they go to coffee, and he lays out the rules. Never criticize. Laugh at everything. Men are visual, so look hot. Let me stick a dick. Then he says, "Let me stick a dick in your ass." That's probably a line you really like in the movie, right, Tony?
No, I do not.
A little too crass for you?
It's not. So here's my problem.
Yeah.
I don't mind crass jokes. I like them. I think they're fun, sometimes. But when you're saying it, it's not funny, first of all, which
He's
is a
not
problem.
saying it as a joke.
But you're saying crass things because they're crass.
In a crass way.
That's what this movie does. It's like, oh, well, we'll just say things dirty. If we say dirty things, people it's edgy. That's not how it works.
No, it's not how it works.
It's not organic. It feels forced, and it's just like, I'm saying dirty things just to shock people. And it's just, it's so dumb. I get so angry about it. Sorry, but sorry. No, go.
And the last thing is more hair, because her hair's not short, but it's not long.
And in my opinion, she looks way better with the short hair. When she takes out the clip at the end, whatever the extensions or whatever, and it's like, oh no, it fits her face. It's really cute. the long hair is a mess. It's like a lion's mane. It's all over the place. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't like it. Anyhow, not that should matter to anybody. As long as she feels good, that's what's important. Here's my problem, Dan, with this scene is that at one point she says something and he's like, well, let's not be selfish, because she thought about herself for 1 second. All he's telling her to do is be a sex doll.
Yeah.
Basically, you're removing all of your personality, your wants and desires, and just catering to him. That's not going to get you a boyfriend. That's going to get you a guy that has sex with you and then leaves.
It'll get you a short-term boyfriend, yes.
Right, exactly. Like, this is not, it just frustrates me because it's not going to work. The plan in the movie is never going to work, and we know that from the onset because it's ridiculous. So to me, the movie doesn't work at all. I just hit my microphone. I'm so upset.
Well, I think what it's supposed to be is you're supposed to think you want the one thing, and then you come to realize you want the other thing because you find out who you truly are and how you really emotionally connect with someone else. Those parts, the second parts, don't happen in this movie.
No, they do not.
So boom, next night, she's dressed up. He's there. She grabs his ass and acts like she's hitting on him, but she's not.
Which, by the way, they slap each other's asses a bunch, and that's just sexual harassment. He does it the first time in the studio, and I was like, whoa, guy, you can't do that. That is not okay.
2009, you were already getting sexual harassment lectures from HR.
Amen.
There was a lot of HR in 2009. It has not changed that. Maybe the enforcement's changed, but in a real workplace in 2009 in California, Sacramento, California.
Yeah. No bueno.
So they go to the
Well, I just want to talk about this scene a little bit longer because the guy shows up.
Yeah, dude shows up.
Gerard Butler hides behind the couch while she answers the door. But then he pops his head up, and then they cut to the guy, and he looks over at the couch. So they make eye contact. 100,000,000%, the way that this movie's edited, they just made eye contact and they never talk about it.
Nope.
She's hiding a guy behind the couch when she gets picked up for her date. They never talk about it. Nope. That's bad editing and super weird.
So they go to the Devils baseball game. He's on the earpiece, and then we have this kind of short scene where he's trying to tell her what to do, and we sort of do 2 or 3 things, and then he says a couple of incorrect words, and it just doesn't escalate. It just sort of, okay, this sort of happened.
And the problem with me is that we've seen this a million times. Not in necessarily a rom-com. Maybe we have, maybe we haven't. But anytime people are on comms, we do the same jokes where it's like, oh, now I'm talking to somebody else, and you think I'm talking to you. Come up with a better joke. Or do it in a way that surprises me.
When you watch Steve Martin and Roxanne, come on.
Yeah.
He's very good in that movie.
And there's a couple of things that they take just straight from other movies and then try to make it different, and it's not different at all. But
they're back at the doorstep. They do a big kiss. He leaves. She then runs over and then gives Gerard Butler's like waiting there, gives him a big hug.
And doesn't she do the dance here too? I think you're right.
She could have done the dance here.
Yeah, I think she did.
Now he's sad because he gets sad when she runs back to her apartment because he's now in love with her. Now he likes her.
I don't know. I guess so. Because
she's hot now, but she's always attractive. I don't. There's been no change in their dynamic as to why he would love her now.
Oh. Right. So real quickly, we're going to backtrack just a little bit to right before the date. They do a Lainey Boggs moment from She's All That where she comes down the stairs.
Yes.
And he's like, oh, you're so hot. But he gave her the makeover. It's not like in She's All That where the sister gives her the makeover and then Freddie's seeing her for the first time and he's surprised. This is a makeover that Mike did and then Mike is surprised when he sees her? I don't understand, man.
He should be smug. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, we were like, oh, good job, me. She's hot now, or something. Oh, boy.
Well, and that's the thing. And, she's the man. I mean, she becomes, actually, she's the man and the other one. They become very hot in those.
100%.
They're very dressed 100%. Down. And she's not really dressed down. She's dressed in attractive business attire.
Yeah, like I'm a professional lady in a business setting. Yeah, great. That's wonderful. Good job.
She's not like art student that, she's not wearing the big Halle Berry sweater. What was that movie?
Yeah.
Oh, and Catwoman.
Catwoman.
When Halle Berry's in that movie, she's pretty schlubby.
Yeah, because and everyone gets upset. They're all like, "Oh, well, she was always pretty." It's like, yeah, we know that. It's not like she's literally ugly. Because spoiler alert, guys, you can't make actually ugly people attractive. It's just not the way it works. You're gonna be yourself no matter what.
Yes, and beautiful people that you put in big sweaters and things are going to be not as apparently attractive, but they're still going to be attractive.
Yeah, they're still going to be pretty, but that's the whole point is we're like, oh, well, we're going to accentuate the beauty, and I don't know.
Well, the other thing they don't ever do in these movies is when people do like real makeups. God, I don't know what I was watching something when a woman goes from being like, getting up in the morning and not having a makeup on, and someone who puts on a makeup.
Oh,
and
we can make a lot with contouring and stuff. You can change a lot of your face.
Like, especially a woman that's a little older and, they build up the eyes and they do these things. You can make a huge difference, but Hollywood's never going to put Halle Berry in like in a non,
But what's what's that movie that we love? The Hottie and the Naughty.
Yeah.
It worked pretty well in that movie.
Yeah. She's very attractive.
Anyhow, or Can't Buy Me Love, Patrick Dempsey, goes from like a nerdy guy to Hello McDreamy. Yeah, great.
There it is.
The glow.
Okay, boom. Next day, we're doing the show. He's on air. Morning show. Network television.
Yeah.
Local network television. Talking about gang bangs.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. There's no television. There is no morning show in the world.
That's what I'm saying. You can't do it.
Where someone is talking about gang.
Wouldn't be allowed. And then, especially like no one gets in trouble. There should be like a call. Someone be like, "Get this guy off the air." But everyone's excited about it. Except for Katherine Heigl. But it doesn't make any sense, man.
You have to still be in some level of reality. You can't be talking about.
They don't live in reality at all.
No.
Fat weatherman, crazy. So I'm still stuck on the fat people.
The nephew is there, and he sees the thing, and he's like, "Bup." He gives him some advice.
How did the nephew get on set, Dan? It's not an open set, people. You have to go through doors that probably have badge access. Let's be honest. They're not just going to let anybody in the thing. He just walks in. Katherine Heigl runs the show, has no idea who he is. She's like, "Hey, who's this kid?" "It's your set, lady."
He crawls in through the dog door.
All right.
And then he gives her the advice, don't give him any sex. And we have a whole big discussion about masturbation and flicking the bean, which he says literally 1,000 times.
Just a billion times. Yep. Again, stupid. We're just saying things that we think are crass for crass sakes. He could have said a bunch of different things, especially when she didn't understand it. If he says it the first time, "Oh, how often do you flick the bean?" She's like, "What?" He should come up with a different way to say it that is then funnier or dirtier. And then they just progress there. Make some jokes, guys. Make a fucking joke in the movie. Please.
Nope, we're going to say the same thing over and over again.
Over and over.
We all laughed in the writer's room when we wrote it. Oh, we're so funny.
Oh, you said flicking the bean. Oh, my God. Idiots.
So, boom, night of she's going out on her big date. Gerard Butler leaves her some vibrating briefs.
Yep.
Dude texts her he's going to be late. She puts it on while the cat watches. That was weird.
Yeah, I don't know why the cat's in this scene. The cat comes down the stairs and then like watches. Why is that in there? That was a weird choice, everybody.
Ding dong, boom. There's Gerard Butler and the boss. They're meeting with corporate. Now, how did he leave the present and then come back with the boss?
Not only that, but why didn't anybody tell her that there was a meeting tonight? She's the producer of the show.
And they'd kind of know that corporate was in town.
Yep. Nobody else is surprised except for her, which doesn't make any sense.
So they go and pick up her date.
Again, doesn't make sense. Are you really going to invite a guy you've only been on one other date with to a work event? At the last second? I don't know,
corporate
man.
meeting with the big bosses? That does not make a lot of sense.
Nope, 0 cents.
And he also picks up the 2 Jello wrestling girls. They come, which is kind of one of those practices that is very wrong, to bring hot girls which are looking to get ahead in TV.
Apparently, because they're actors. I don't know, man.
It's very cringy, very creepy. And boom, lo and behold, she has put batteries into the thing, and she drops this remote control, and a small child gets it, and he just keeps on doing it, and she basically cannot just run away to a bathroom. Instead, has to stand there in front of everybody and have a giant orgasm.
Yep. So this is when Harry met Sally. But we're like, well, let's do it. Let's do it real. What if she really had an orgasm at the table? Wouldn't that be even funnier than when Harry met Sally? First of all, no, it's not. Because when Harry met Sally, she's doing it on purpose. And she's doing it to get a reaction out of the other guy, right? Yeah. This is a bunch of people watching a woman overact while having an orgasm. She's being so loud at this table. Everyone knows what's happening. That's what's weird. It's not like when Harry met Sally, everyone else is like, wait, what is going on over there? And then it's a joke, right? She's doing it as a joke. This movie, it goes on for 5 minutes, first of all. And everyone's like, oh, well, yeah, no, she's having an orgasm right now. I don't know why, but everyone else is just watching her. And then the guys are getting like aroused. Like the boss is like sweating and he's like, oh, I'm going to jerk off later. It's just so weird that I never laugh. I never find it funny because I'm just like, what the fuck is going on right now?
But it's also not uncomfortable. It's just kind of like, it's just
a weird choice. That's how I thought. I was just like, what's weird. What to me, like a big difference between the two is that she's again not in control of the situation. Yeah. There is a small boy who is controlling her. She has no control of what's. I don't know. It's all weird. It's not funny. I don't know. It's dumb.
Why would you want to tie a child into your
into this situation? Why not just have, I don't know, Gerard Butler find it and be like, oh, this will be funny, and then just does it as a joke or something. You know what I mean?
He's using it to undermine her.
Yeah, great.
Be a thing that he might do. Okay.
Yeah, I hated that scene. Hated it.
Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. So now we have a big montage of her dating and flowers, and
right. Yeah, I don't know.
Mike is hurt because she knows love, and he's jealous because he cannot know love. Okay.
Because he basically chooses not to, but that's fine.
So we find out that Mike has gotten a big contract offer from CBS, so she has to go meet him for lunch to try and talk him out of it or do something and make him that blah. So she's talking to him, and he says he likes Sacramento, and she calls him a man whore, and she says the word cock a bunch.
Yeah. Again, for no reason, really. She just says it several times. And then he's like, oh, you're saying cock all the time because you're like a changed person. I don't know. Yeah, like what's happening? What's happening?
So she's going to go to Tahoe with her boyfriend, and they're going to finally have sex. Da-dum-dum-bum.
Now let's talk about, just real quickly, the man whore comment, because he hasn't been with anyone since we've known him.
Mm-mm. He flirted with a woman.
Oh, that's right. That son of a bitch.
And he brought the Jello twins with him.
I guess that's true. I mean obviously nothing happened. It was just a gimmick, but
I buy that she would call him that because she's weird.
And I mean, it's hard because we know more information than she does. So I guess that's probably where I am. But he hasn't done anything.
So boom, she has to go with him because she's going to be on Craig Ferguson to produce and to keep him from joining CBS. So she goes there with him.
Yeah, because we find out this is basically his audition for the big thing.
Yeah. So they go to, I guess they come down to LA. She's producing him. He gives a little bit of his history that he was listening to a lot of talk radio, and so he's like, I could do that.
Yep. Okay. Great stuff.
And then so that's that. Let's see. And then on Craig,
boring.
He goes on Craig Ferguson. You're like, oh, Craig Ferguson, someone funny. Let's do a whole big segment with him.
Nope.
We use him. He gets about 2 lines, and Gerard Butler
and none
gets
of them
2
are
lines.
Jokes.
No, he just, I'm going to say something radical, or not radical, crude, and everyone's going to laugh.
And they did. They laughed a bunch, and I did not.
And then Craig's like, who hurt you?
And then we get serious.
And then he gets serious. Oh, something. And so we're like, oh, okay, he's a broken man because someone broke his heart. We're like, okay, well, this is interesting.
But not.
Hold on.
Really,
we don't know yet. Hold on.
Okay,
Just
hold on.
Calm down. So then they go to a big club dinner place.
Well, hold on. I just want to say one thing.
Sure.
So when he asks him about his ex, who hurt you or whatever, there's like a moment where he's like, oh, I'm sad. And then he says like a joke, and he says, oh, you know what I say? It's better a floozy than a doozy or something like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He's never said that before.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Why did he say it like I
always say,
right? Like that's not a saying. It's nothing. I don't know. I don't know where it came from. And then everybody laughed, and I didn't laugh.
So now we're at the dinner after that, which doesn't make sense because you wouldn't go to dinner after Craig Ferguson. Well, I guess maybe they shoot in the afternoon. Yeah, I guess
they might. Yeah, they might. You don't know.
And then he talks about his parade of heartbreak. And how women are terrible. This woman was terrible. This woman was terrible to me. This woman was terrible to me. This woman was terrible to me. All these women were terrible to me. And there's no such thing as a good relationship, period.
Right. So here's my problem. In not one of those relationships does he say he did anything wrong. This guy thinks he's perfect. This guy is saying, I did all the things right, and all of these women were terrible. One, it sounds like you're picking some wrong people. I think that's on you. It says more about you than anything. But he doesn't cop to anything. He's never done anything wrong. And I was just like, yeah, this is dumb.
Well, and the truth should be it should be one situation. Right?
Like an actual situation where I was in a real committed relationship and she fucked me over, and I was like, wow, I thought we were getting married. And it's all bullshit.
And his only recovery was to become this person who he wasn't.
Yeah. All it sounds like is he just hasn't found the right person yet. He's just been on a string of, those couldn't have been long relationships.
No.
Like, a couple months and we broke up, couple months here. Oh, no good relationship. It's all dumb. It's so dumb.
Do you remember that show? What was that show? I forget.
Love Island. Yes, love it. It's great.
The one with Jonathan Silverman, and he like goes on dates all the time.
Uh-oh. Who's Jonathan Silverman? Oh, boy.
It's an old sitcom. Forget it.
All right. Never mind.
We're not going there. And then he asked the waiter for tap water, and she's like, twinkle, twinkle, we're the same.
Yeah.
That's their point of connection, was that they both have the same weird opinion about tap water. That means they're compatible for love.
It means that they're both stupid. That's what it means. It means that they both have no taste buds in their mouth, and they're both idiots, and they're both cheap. So, you can't spend $4 on a bottle of water? Jesus Christ.
So they're dancing. They're all smiles. They almost kiss on the dance floor. Then they're like, early flight. They go in the elevator. And they end up kissing in the elevator when they say goodnight.
I'm just going to say this. Pretty good kiss.
Pretty good. It's pretty sexy.
I'm not gonna lie. I was like, I would be on either end of that, and I'm fine.
We should have got to this much earlier in the movie.
100%.
This is
but
what's
then we just kind of ditch it anyhow, so I guess it doesn't matter. This 30 seconds, I was like, okay, here we go. Strap in, ladies and gentlemen. There's some sexual chemistry here.
I'd like to see more of this. This is good stuff. We're not going to see more of this.
No, unfortunately not. But now I kind of want to find some more Gerard Butler kissing scenes. See if he's that good, or if maybe she elevated his game. I don't know.
They're both good at their. This is like the one scene where you're like, okay, I buy this.
Yeah, because they have some nice tension beforehand, and then there's
the dance scene was good too. You're like,
Yeah, 100%.
This feels real. They both could do this level of emotional connection. It's good.
And what's nice about it is, it doesn't require a whole lot of writing, which seems to be a big problem of the rest of the movie.
It's when the words start coming out of their mouths that we do not believe these characters are compatible.
Yeah.
And she's in her room. Why do I want to do it again? Knock, knock, knock. Boom. It's Colin. And she's immediately not into him. And that's
totally
they played it out pretty good too. You're just kind of like, oh man, is she gonna have to sleep with him when she's not into him? That would be weird and uncomfortable.
Yes, it would.
And then boom, here comes Mike. He's wandering the halls. He knocks on her door. And he's all like, he says, they changed our flight time. And then she follows him out the door. And then they have the moment. And then he just walks away.
Well, yeah, because, she's with her boyfriend. So why you listen to anything she has to say? Because she clearly made her choice because he surprised her. I'm not saying that makes any sense. I'm saying that that's what I get from the scene, is that he's like, well, he's there, so I guess we're done. That meant nothing. I don't know.
Yeah, it is weird.
But she talks to her boyfriend, Colin. Is that his name you said? Colin?
Yeah.
And she's like, hey, why do you like me?
Yes.
And do you remember what his responses are?
You're not controlling.
You're not controlling. And he's like, so many women are total control freaks. What a weird generalization, first of all. This movie's so stupid. I hate it. All women are control freaks, except for you. You're the one special one. Oh, God, it's disgusting. But then, so she is then like, you know what? That's not true. I am those things, which is, again, stupid because now she's embracing the stereotype. I hate it. But what she says, do you remember? This is my least favorite line of the entire movie. She's like, I'm so controlling that I hate being fed like a toddler. Who the fuck likes being fed like a toddler?
No.
Nobody. That doesn't make you controlling. That makes you a human being that doesn't like someone else shoving food in your face. Oh, here comes the choo-choo. Oh, God, it's so stupid. It's so stupid.
And then she says she's sorry, and then she takes off her hair extension, which I just thought was such an interesting move.
It was weird.
Like how this sort of stands for the whole, I kind of feel like she should have done that at first. It should have started with that, and it would have been really interesting.
And then been like, this is different. I'm also this and this and this, and I just went, but this, I don't know, man.
Everything I've been feeding you has been a lie because I just wanted you to like me, and that's probably wrong.
Because you don't like me at all. You like this robot sex doll that I've made. Oh, I hate this movie, Dan.
So it turns out that Mike did quit, and he's going to CBS, even though he said he wouldn't quit because he wanted to stay there for the kid.
But apparently the kid doesn't mean that much to him.
It doesn't mean anything. He just wants to burn her, but does he want to burn her? Why would he want to burn her? No, not really.
No, he's his ego, his male ego. It's so fragile that he's just like, oh, I'm going to blow up my life now because you don't like me.
Because she didn't really blow him up.
No, he kind of blew her off. And then took it as if she blew him up. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And boom. So he moves on. She moves on. She's gotten a new mic. We're out at the balloon where they launched the balloons.
Yeah, the balloon festival.
This is where we're going to introduce our new mic at the balloon festival.
Yeah. Do you remember his name?
No.
Jack Magnum is his name.
Jack Magnum. And so basically what happens is she throws Jack Magnum out. He's a true misogynist and doesn't follow the script, which seems like on day one you should probably follow the script.
How would he get past the audition process, Dan?
I don't know.
He does.
I have a bunch of opinions. Now I'm on TV, and they're going to have to keep me on here forever.
It doesn't make any sense at all. Oh, I hate it.
But it was kind of funny when she pulls him backwards out of the balloon and then steps in and she starts commentating.
And that's funny. It's funny, but what's not funny is that most of the things that Jack Magnum was talking about were rape. They were rape related. I don't know if you remember that.
They're terrible.
He says, I you want to listen to my opinion because I've been with hundreds of girls, most of them conscious. First of all, that's not a joke you can
That's
make.
a hilarious
Don't make
rape.
that joke.
No, Tony, it's a hilarious laugh out loud rape joke.
No.
Everyone in the theater went crazy for that joke.
Oh, so, and I think he at some point says, because no doesn't mean no or something. I don't know. It was really,
If you're gonna start with one rape joke, you may as well go for
you
two
just
and
gotta
three.
keep going. You gotta go for one
like-
alone is weird, but if you keep hitting it hard,
Isn't that the Tony approach to
That is-
comedy? If the first joke fails, hit that joke again and again and again because they will warm up to it.
You're right. You're absolutely right. But it did not work here. Let me just put it out there. I'm sorry.
So, not surprisingly, Gerard Butler's character's also doing a
At the balloon
thing there,
festival,
so
I don't know.
he runs
What
over.
is this balloon festival that we want misogynistic point of views at it? Because that's his thing too. I don't understand.
He runs over and gets in her shot, and they have an argument, and they float up in the air.
Okay, so before we talk about,
And
if
they're
you want
like-
to talk about the content of
and
the
then-
scene.
Cue the secret camera that's on the balloon.
Yep. That's a huge problem. Number two is they don't use the fucking microphone, Dan. They have Jack Magnum on a microphone. She takes the microphone. Then when they start talking, the microphone's gone.
We should just reshoot
How
this.
do we hear them?
we should
How
just
do we hear them, Dan? Tell me.
we should reshoot this episode. It'll just be you complaining about the technical aspects of this as a real studio thing. I don't know. It's just
No, you don't know because you can't.
more
you
importantly, they're like cut to the secret camera, and the secret camera. Then it's like 2 minutes of them just floating with nothing happening.
Yep.
You're like, oh my god, secret camera.
Oh,
Stop.
it's so dumb. It's so dumb.
And then they're in love with each other and they kiss.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically it. There's one tiny good joke
Yeah.
that it only works if you're buying into this scenario where they don't need a microphone or a real camera to get news. But the head of news guy, once they start floating up and they don't know they're on camera anymore because the secret camera was put there without Katherine Heigl's knowledge, I guess. He's like, oh, they're going to curse. They're going to curse. And then he says, fuck one time. And he goes, oh, it's begun. And then never again do we cut back to him having a panic attack.
Because he curses again.
Yeah, he curses again. That's a beat you should hit. As they curse more, he should get more upset.
No,
Yeah.
No.
But nope.
No.
Nothing.
Yeah, the guy
Nothing at
cuts.
all.
We're getting calls. No.
Right? Like the FCC's on the line. We're getting shut down in 30 seconds. Hold them off. Yeah.
$1,000 a hit. Then we cut to a scene in the dark of them having sex, and that's the final scene of the movie.
And
I don't understand that scene.
Don't understand at all. Other than she does like he's like, was that real or fake? Am I really that good or are you faking it? She's like, you'll never know. That's a terrible way to start a relationship.
Like
That's the first time they're having sex and you don't know if she's enjoying it or not. Okay, great joke.
She's emasculating him just like all women do to men.
Right? I don't get it, Dan.
It's over.
Now, I need to say one final thing.
Okay.
And then I've said my piece and I've
let
done.
it go. You let it go.
I don't know about that. I hang on to things deep inside my soul.
Putting him in the ground. Goddamn ugly joke.
Katherine Heigl
Yeah.
had a huge falling out with Judd Apatow over Knocked Up. Because she felt like it was degrading and too dirty or something like that. And she was, she's better than that. She doesn't like it.
That was after this movie?
That was before this movie, Dan. This movie came out after Knocked Up and is so much worse than anything Knocked Up ever does. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
I can't even imagine Judd Apatow being really dirty. It would just be like in a little sort of 9-year-old way.
Well, it's very juvenile. It's not, and this movie, cock. Come on, guys. I hate this movie on so many levels. And I'm done. Rant over.
Now we're going to talk about something we like this week.
All right.
We just started The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Oh, how is that? It's been on my list for years.
Oh, I thought you said you'd watched it and didn't like it. Somebody said they didn't like it.
10
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Wow.
I love it. It's
Wow.
it's about comedy. She's
Okay.
it's about her. It's like 1958 New York, and it's about her becoming a comedian.
I didn't know that's what that was about at all.
That's what it's about. And
that sounds delightful.
there are just Tony Shalhoub.
Love that guy.
It's his greatest role.
Wow, have you seen 13 Ghosts?
I have seen 13 Ghosts.
That's a good one.
Actually. He just, every line he gets to deliver.
Just crushing it.
And then Kevin Pollak's in there, and he's...
Oh, I love Kevin Pollak.
Every line Kevin Pollak delivers, he kills it beyond... I mean, there's just... It's a tour de force of comedic people.
He has my favorite moment in cinema history.
Wow.
It's She's All That. The soccer team is cleaning his house, and he watches, Jeopardy? He watches Jeopardy every day. And these people in his house start answering the Jeopardy questions right. And he just looks around and he goes, "Who are you people?" It is delivered so brilliantly. It's my favorite moment I've ever seen.
Our
He's a hero.
super fan of the show, Todd, knows Kevin Pollak.
What? Let's get in a room. Let's get us all in a room. Golly.
Yeah. So Mrs. Maisel, we've watched the first 6 episodes of season 1. This just slotted into one of my favorite TV shows of all time.
Wow. Okay. I'm going to have to watch this. I didn't know. This doesn't even sound like anything I thought this show was about.
I thought it was a musical, and I love musicals, but I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. Unbelievable. Okay. Dan, thank you. You might have just changed my whole life.
Just changed your whole life, Tony. Maybe watch a little less
Ted Lasso.
What do you got for us, Tony?
We last Sunday went and saw Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Amongst Thieves.
Yes.
It's delightful. It is a delight. Chris Pine. Woo. About as piney as pine gets, and it was it's wonderful. My only complaint is what's his name? Renee Jane Page, whatever, the guy from Bridgerton. I hate him. I think he's terrible in everything he does. I'm just gonna be completely honest. I think he is a horrible actor. He has absolutely no emotional range whatsoever. I think he's very boring. And despite what people say, I don't find him attractive. So people that are like, "Oh, he needs to be the next Bond," and I was like, I will never watch a Bond film again for the rest of my life if he becomes Bond. What a snooze fest that would be, from going from Daniel Craig to this fucking wooden box. Unbelievable. Anyhow, D&D, great movie.
I'm glad you could bring the thing you liked along with the most negative comment you could make about just about anyone. So there you go. I would murder all of my children, current and future, if he was become James Bond. And
I would.
Sorry. I think in our schedule we'll be releasing. Well, no, we would have already released. So I get to pick the next movie.
Yeah, who knows? You pick a movie and it'll come out at some time. I don't know.
I was booming around on the old Twitter, and somebody's like, "Remember this film and how terrible it was?" And I'm like, "Oh,
that's great. That's
a movie that's never been on my list. A movie that has not one but 2 of our favorite people, Halle Berry,
okay,
and John Travolta."
Swordfish. Yeah. Hugh Jackman. Okay. I haven't seen this movie since high school. I'm ready for this.
I don't think I've seen it. I feel like I've watched the first 20 minutes and I turned it off.
I'm going to say something that's probably going to get me canceled.
Oh, no.
But I will say Halle Berry is topless in the movie, and I do think that's why we watched it a bunch in high school. I'm not saying I would do it now. I'm just saying I believe that's why we were like, we should probably see that movie, right, guys?
And you're going to watch it one more time for science.
One more time just to see how bad it is, because I don't remember anything else about the movie.
It seems like the critics did not like it. And then on the Rotten Tomatoes, there's a lot of 2 stars, and then there's a number of people that are giving it 4 stars. So I don't know. It should. I'm expecting it to be moderately terrible.
Great. I love that. Yeah, I think he's like a hacker or something.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah, I don't
John
remember this movie
Travolta
at all.
has
I'm
like a little
excited.
beard here. And,
That sounds about right. Yeah. Well, let's do it. Swordfish. All right.
Swordfish. So if you like what you see, I also give a shout out to our friend Sue Kate, who says she listens to it as a podcast, our show. So
Sue Kate. She's not going to get this far into it, but thanks for
Yeah,
listening, Sue
she-
Kate. That makes two people. Unbelievable.
At least two. No, Chicken Burger Disco always catches them.
Whoa, guy, we are blowing up.
So
Unbelievable.
we get like 20 or 30 views on YouTube, and I don't know how. Can you find out how many listens you get on the?
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Have you looked at that?
It's not. Yeah, it's not a lot. It's usually we're in between 10 and 20.
Oh,
per
okay.
episode,
Yeah,
generally.
so we're getting 30 or 40 people that listen. So
we're only 3 years into the show, so we're still growing.
Pace is slowly picking up.
That's right. Yeah. We're doing great.
Like
we're
a
doing
ball, like the snowball in Willow. By the time we get to the bottom of the hill, that's going to be a big snowball.
In about 25 to 30 years, we're going to have about 100 people watching this show.
So if you like what you see, give us a thumbs up. Leave a comment if there's a movie you would like us to do. We're always considering whatever you want us to do. And think about subscribing, because that's a way that you can support us also.
Just don't do it, but think about it. The thought is all that matters, guys.
Just think about it. And we'll be back next week talking about a swordfish.
Swordfish! Goodbye, everybody!